you can see how she's like borderline. Can I really get her attention right now when she's frazzled like that? I'm Zach George, I'm a dog trainer. Meet my new project, Kona. I've got just 3 weeks to train her and set her up for the most well-behaved life possible. That means I need to work on the most common puppy issues like potty training, how to actually pay attention, stopping things like play biting, chewing, separation anxiety, getting along with other animals, leash walking, and teaching her everything a good dog needs to know. Real dog training doesn't always go smoothly, and that's why I'm going to show you every success and mistake and how I work through all of the most challenging parts of raising a new puppy. Welcome to your new puppy survival guide. Today I'm hoping to tackle some of the toughest puppy issues with Kona the Irish Doodle. For example, Kona definitely needs help on not digging and picking up potentially harmful things in our yard. Because with Kona, that's kind of out of control right now, if I'm being honest. Come! Yeah! Woo! Good job. I also really want to improve her leash walking skills, especially in new places, and we're gonna work on some other stuff too. I'm losing control of this series by the second. Things were going well in training, I promise. PupBox is a very different kind of subscription monthly box. They send you specific items and training advice based on your dog's specific age. So it's all about training and raising your dog and getting through that first year of life with a new pup. Kona, I need this to train you. Gosh, let go, thank you. Look at this, these holy rollers are awesome right here. This is a fun toy because it's kind of a hybrid between a tug toy. There's a lot of give to it, but it also serves as a great fetch toy. I love this toy because it's a good squeaky toy, but it's super tough, you know? Oh, and some venison jerky, look at that. That is quality stuff right there for training. And of course, the obligatory staple squeaky tennis ball. Kona, you can't just steal things out of the box. Don't worry, you'll get this later. Kona clearly likes the roasted beef steak. I think that might be her favorite item ever. If you need training help like I obviously do right now, get 50% off of your first PupBox when you sign up for a 3, 6, or 12-month subscription. Go to pupbox.com/Zach and use discount code ZACH, link below. I do want to address a question that a few of you have asked, and I think it's a really good question. Some of you have wondered, well, Zach, why aren't you using the clicker with Kona during this series like you did with Inertia? For those of you that are new, a clicker looks something like this. It makes a clicking sound like that. And we condition our dogs to understand that that sound means, good dog, I like what you just did. Here's something amazing, in the hopes that that inspires them to want to repeat the behavior we just marked by clicking. I don't think a clicker by any means is required for training a dog, but it can be a great tool, especially for beginners, to really get their timing down. And there's no harm in using a clicker at all. I've opted to not use it in this series so far, because I know it's an objection that a lot of people have when training their dog. They feel like they're always going to need it. So I wanted to show you that it's definitely not required for training a dog. I got this clicker from Doggone Good Clicker Company. You can look them up. So let me show you how you can quickly, and I mean quickly, condition your dog to understand what the click means. In this case, it will mean, good dog, I like that, you win an awesome treat. I'm not gonna tell her to do a thing, watch this. I'm gonna click, I'm gonna give her a piece of meat. I'm gonna click, I'm gonna give her a piece of meat. Now, one thing I'm gonna be looking for over these next several clicks is an automatic sit. In other words, she's already equated, hey, when I sit or lie down, I get a treat. So I'll be looking for her to automatically do one of those things. Click, treat. See, that's all I'm doing, not asking her to do anything at this point. There it is, yep. Told you it was coming. So that's a sign that they're making the connection that, okay, every time that click goes off, I'm gonna get a treat. Yeah, good. So in our case, we've been saying yes, and you might be wondering what's wrong with that. Nothing. Sometimes though, the artificial sound of the clicker can be really catchy for a dog, and it also gives you as the human a button in your hand to press the moment your dog does what you like. Let me give you an example of how you might use this in a day-to-day scenario. So we would go sit, give her the treat. The second her butt hit the ground, we clicked. For lie down, we would click the moment she gets in that lie down position and follow it up with a treat. Now, of course, you can give some genuine heartfelt encouragement and praise here along the way. Let's see how that rollover is looking. Roll over, yeah. We're gonna teach her something brand new using the clicker in just a second, so I can show you how that would look as well. But for now, what have we done? We've conditioned her to the clicker. We've clicked and given her a treat every time that we make the sound so she understands. We've shown her that, hey, when you sit or comply with a request, the clicker's gonna go off and you're gonna get a treat. I'll take that. Love the compliance. Now, it's important to remember what the clicker is not. It's not a button to call your dog, even though that may work. We don't want to rely on that because it's going to quickly dilute the meaning of the clicker. It's not a tool to signal your dog to do something in advance. Remember, it happens when a behavior occurs, not before a behavior occurs. Now, one trick that I've been wanting to teach her is crawl. So we're going to see how that goes. This is another trick where we'll use luring. Yes. Oh, she's already doing it, you guys. Look at that. Look at that. Look at those legs in the back. They're in the crawl position almost. So we're just gonna lure her along. Yes. Notice how I'm clicking like at any hint of the final motion. I'm not asking her for a refined, perfect crawl for 5 seconds before I click and reward. If she shows me she's going a millistep in the right direction, I'm gonna go ahead and click her and follow that up with a reward every time. So, good, and you may not see it, but I am releasing the treat after I click. See that? Look at this. How do you learn so fast? Lie down. Good. Go ahead and reward on the lie down there. Yes, good. And right there, since she's, and right there, what did I do? When she got up, I pulled the treat away. That made the treat get real far away once she got out of the crawl position. Did you see that? She went back down. I like that she's trying to keep the session going. So basically, I mean, you can't use the clicker too much. If you're thinking, hey, I like what you're doing there, click and give a reward. If you're good. Yes, good girl. Can I get another inch or two? Let's see. God. Of course, you may have to contort in all kinds of ways to teach your dog. Yes. Good girl. Nice correction there with those hind legs not dragging. Good work. Hug. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and continue to click and treat for duration too, even though she's already done the hug. There we go. Good girl. Okay, hug is looking pretty good too. Here. So let me plant the seed for a future trick, like figure eights through the legs. That's a really fun, flashy one. And again, just to remind you, we don't train tricks to be entertaining, though it's okay if you do, but we really train tricks like this to keep our dogs engaged. It's kind of like teaching advanced math to them. It really stimulates their brain, helps them understand broader communication with human beings, and it's just a really great way to increase your dog's quality of life by understanding how to work with us better. Good. She's following that lure very well. Notice how the lure isn't right at her nose. Keep going. Good. So right there, I really asked her to make several moves before I decided to click because she's getting the hang of it. She's following the lure well. And over time, your dog is like, what do I have to do to make that clicker go off, right? It's a really great way to make training a little more interesting for some dogs. Maybe it makes it more interesting for you as well. I think that's a great introductory session on crawl and weave through your legs. It's just a way to plant the seed. We're not trying to master a new trick all in one step, obviously, but just a great way to keep her thinking, teach her how to really follow that lure. And as I said, a great way to build mutual communication, which is what dog training is all about. To this point, Kona's leash walking skills have been impressive. So far, she's done beautifully at several different parks. She's doing well on neighborhood walks. And just yesterday, we were in the city in New Orleans, and she did pretty well. Today, we're at historic Bayou St. John, and we're gonna do some leash training with Kona today. And while there are many historic facts about this bayou, the fact that real-life pirates used to go up and down it is pretty crazy. And plus, some people think it's haunted. I don't know. What I hope to accomplish today is to verify that Kona's leash walking abilities are improving and getting even more reliable in this type of setting. And it may be time to start planting the seed for a proper heel later on. This is really good here. I mean, the barking is fine here. I'm not too concerned about it actually because we have a loose leash while she's barking. She's more nervous than she is like lunging at them. So I want to make sure that I give her plenty of room to go back here. Watch this. Kona, come. Good. Good job. Yes. So I was still easily able to get her under control, even in that circumstance. It's normal for young puppies to react and bark at other dogs like that because they're interested in dogs. You know, they don't know the context. Well, what are those dogs coming over here for? Who knows what they're thinking? Some people might react by correcting their dog or putting tension on the leash, which really tends to aggravate the situation with a lot of dogs. And the fact that I was able to get her attention on me was evidence that she wasn't too overly stimulated. That's a dog. That's interesting, isn't it? See those puppies? I know. Kona, look at me. Yes. Hey, that was really good. That was a really good balance of letting her satisfy her curiosity. I'm gonna continue to let her do it by looking at him, vocalizing a little. I mean, you know, I gotta watch that. Maybe that turns into excessive barking later, but that's not the priority right now. The priority is it was acceptable and she was evaluating the dogs, and I was still able to get her attention on me at some point there by asking for it. We've been out here just a few minutes and she's adjusting beautifully. Let's continue on our way here, see how she does. Let her continue adjusting, but she's doing pretty good. Kona is typically the kind of dog that adjusts within like 10 or 15 minutes, which is really nice. But if it took your dog longer, that's totally fine too. Every dog is different. Let me verify that I can get her attention on me right now, because if I can get her attention on me, that means she's probably ready to train. Right now she's interested in this vegetation. Kona, look at me. A little tough right now. Yes, she was a little late on the look at me. I'm still gonna go ahead and give her a treat right now just to see. You want more of that or not? If she goes back to doing what she's doing, she's probably not yet adjusted, and I should probably give her some more time. Let me just test, just to see. Kona. Okay, looks like I'm able to get her attention there, intermittently, so she's starting to come through. Let me see, one more time. Kona. Sit. Okay, we got her into a sit, that's pretty good. We can get her attention right now. It's more intermittent though, so she's not quite fully adjusted. I mean, it's a fine line here in trying to seize those opportunities when your dog is voluntarily giving you their attention to get the most out of that particular training instance. And on the other hand, they still need to check out these purple plants to see what they're all about. I mean, I don't blame her, they're really neat. Oh, there's a barking dog in the house there. She's aware of it, that's fine. She kept moving, I like that. Kona. Come, that's it. So I'm looking to find just kind of a small stretch of street or sidewalk to work on here. Hey, this looks as good as any. Look at me. Yes. Here. Kona, let me see if I can get her to look at me while moving. Kona, look at me. Yes. Delayed, but perfectly fine. She needs time to process. Okay, come on. Yeah. Kona, look at me. Well, I got a little glance. Yes, come on. Let's go back here. Yeah, come on. Look at you. Yes. Good, and here. Yes. Really good. I mean, you can't ask for any better than that from a 14-week-old puppy. You just can't. That's amazing. Hey, look at me. Good. Oh, yes. That's what I was hoping for. That little movement. Let me try and get another one. Here, Kona, look. Yes. There we go. Yes. Here, look at me. Here. Yes. Good. Okay, that was a pretty exciting moment for me because she was looking up at me for more sustained periods of time, and it almost looked like she was really comfortable doing this mini puppy heel. I think we should at least start planting the seed for a future heel today. Yes, good. Just trying to see how flexible she is on going into a position there. You might know with my dog Inertia, I trained her how to spin into the heel on either side of me, which is a really useful thing if you go the extra mile to train something like that. But the first thing I really want to do is I just want to see if she can do a half circle. So yes, that was pretty good. I mean, that's what it looks like in the beginning, a little rough. But if I can like have her stay, yes, stay. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and reward for duration here for a second on stay. Yes, this is, yes. Just letting her get a little lick of the treat in, yes. Not treating her as much as it looks like here. But that's getting her to hold the position. You see that? Yes. And then over time, yes, good. Yes, I'll do it a little bit slower. Yes. And that's kind of how you get traction. That's a really good visual example. So oftentimes when you see those rapid fires, those are for early attempts and early successes. Now that she's in this stand, let me see if I can lure her. Yeah, that's how it looks. That's how it looks right there. Yes. Stay. Oh. Yes, good. Okay, take a break. I mean, that was a really good moment right there. It was a pretty clean spin. We're gonna take a break here, walk down a little bit. You can see how she wants to stop and smell the flowers. I hear you're supposed to do that every once in a while. Okay, enough smelling, come. I mean, how good are you? Here we go, let me see. Yes, there we go. Look at me. Yes. I'm trying to get in a half a step or a step. Here. Yes, good, right there. See how I'm trying to keep her in this position. Come on. Yes, good. Here, come on. Yes, back here. Just trying to, since she's so willing to follow that lure back into position, I'm just gonna encourage her to do that. Here. Kona, look at me. Yes. Look at me. Come on. Yes. You know what? Let's just take a step back here and let's just see if we can get her comfortable with taking a treat in this position right here. That's where her nose needs to be. So let me just play here for a minute, see if I can get her to understand that. You can start to see just the glimmers of a heel there. See that right there? Just really, the point here isn't to teach a heel. I just want to let her know it's possible to exist in this part of the world right here, right by my leg. Yes. Look at that. Come here. Here. Kona, look at me. Yes. Oh boy, I almost had her there. I did push her a bit. So I'm content that she did at least that well on her very first heel session. Not bad at all, girl. Let's continue to walk with her here. So you can see how we're doing this kind of hybrid training session here. When she gives me her attention and she seems really into it, we're gonna take that opportunity to do some training. And when she wants to just sniff around and explore, we're gonna let her do that too. And the reason we're doing that is because she's at that very important socialization period in her life. So socialization is everything, not just playing with dogs and people, right? It's getting to know the entire world. There's a dog who's just trying to say hi to her as we walk down the street. Okay, come. Yes. Good, come on. Come on. Yes. I'm just gonna let the environment be the reward there. She's a little frazzled. Again, keep trying to do my best to keep the leash loose here, just so she can feel like she has freedom of movement, can really process what's going on. I mean, that's a little weird to her. She's like, whoa, there's a dog over there coming from somewhere. I can smell the dog, I can hear the dog, but I can't see the dog. You can see how she's like borderline. Can I really get her attention right now when she's frazzled like that? Kona, come. Yes, good. This is a case where when I called her, she didn't really respond to me, but when she looked up at me, I was able to encourage her with my body language to come towards me. So you've got to kind of think about all those nuanced ways that we communicate with our dogs and try to tap on those to the best of your ability. So here, I'm really trying to push to get a little bit more out of that heel training session. This is what we have to watch for as trainers. Sometimes that's a good idea, sometimes not so much. So here in the case, we have a barking dog. It's really throwing her off. It's far more beneficial to let her process the barking dog in this new place than it is to insist on trying to get those last few steps of progress out of her heel training session. Does that make sense? Always be flexible and prepared to change your game plan on a moment's notice. For Kona, she's actually starting to pull a little bit here. That's a little bit new for her. Normally she's been good about walking a bit slower, but perhaps she's getting more confident now and more eager to explore her surroundings. So I'm gonna try to do my best to keep that at bay, that pulling, by doing a little impromptu lesson here real quick. Kona, here. Come, let's go. What's this? Yes. Good. You can see that yes works really well with her. Here. Kona. Kona, come. Yes. good girl. Very good. All right. So several times throughout this walk, Kona has tried to get into the vegetation and smell things, and I've been trying to let her do that. But then her recall is so reliable that I'm able to call her off of those things at a really consistent rate. I want to maintain that for a while. I'm not just going to assume, oh, she just listens to come when called now. I want to continue to give her a reason to listen to that one for an extended period of time, at least a full year of life. So it's really seared into her brain that she always listens to that one. So I'd love to take a moment right now to talk to some of you who have dogs who are just constantly grabbing at everything on a walk, whether it's garbage or vegetation or plants or whatever. I want to definitely acknowledge what you're going through because I know personally how overwhelming that can be with a new puppy. Do you understand that that is normal puppy behavior? There's nothing wrong with you or your dog if they're doing that. And you're not doing irreversible damage by letting your dog get away with picking things up on a walk. Of course, you do want to address it, but there's a time and a place, and there's a lot of communication you have to build with your dog in those first few weeks. So that really is the bigger picture here. One of the ways that I really like to address the issue of dogs grabbing everything when you go on a walk is to be preemptive. For example, in this case, she's had a lot of training today, a lot of activity. She's not in a super wired frame of mind. This is a really good time to reinforce good behavior. So this is a typical item, right, that a dog might want to grab at on the sidewalk if they encountered it. Let's do a training drill that closely mimics real life here. In fact, exceeds it a little bit. It's going to fall from the sky as we walk, and we're going to see if she leaves it alone or not. Kona, come. She has no idea it's coming. Leave it. Kona, come. Looks like we failed on that one. So right there, I mean, when she was in that surprised state of mind, she hasn't generalized this concept of leaving a foreign object alone. Good example. I have work to do there. I'm gonna be a little more deliberate rather than just doing the same thing this time to really help her understand. So Kona, leave it. Kona, come on, let's go. Leave it. Okay, nope, not there yet. So I'm clear, whoa. I'm clearly taking steps that are too big here. So let's practice. Leave it. Look at me. Yes. Leave it. Look at me. Perfect. Really good job, girl. Okay, now we got that. Kona, leave it. Kona, come. Yes. A little bit easier. Let's go. Let's go. Leave it. Come. Yes, that's what we're looking for. Just doing small exercises like that can be super beneficial, super easy, and super helpful for your dog. Your mindset is like the most important thing when you're training a dog. By finding a pleasant place to work and train with your dog, you're more likely to have a more productive training session with your dog. And I understand that you can't always do that, but just a tip. So you know when you let your dog out and they're biting stuff or they're digging at the ground and you just want them to not behave that way? I mean, you can see our lawn's taking some abuse, and if we've been practicing a recall, we do this. Kona, come. Yes, sit. Good girl. In other words, we do an incompatible behavior. If she's running to me, she can't be digging a hole. Plus, that's one of the most valuable skills that any dog could have. And if she would go right back to it, I would do the same thing. In fact, she probably will here in a second. But the idea is to create the habit of, okay, every time I go over there, I end up getting distracted from it. That's probably for good reason, but this is why we supervise outdoor play sessions. And if your dog isn't coming to you when you call them, then that's just your cue to take a step back and practice come when called exercise in a lot of different places and distracting situations. The more you just take advantage of your downtime with your dog like this, the more likely it is to listen to you in more complicated and distracting situations. Kona, and remember, she's a teething dog, but you can't do that. Kona, come. Yes, good, love it. That is what I'm talking about, good girl. So in that case, again, her recall has been so strong because I've made it a point every time she comes to me, I'm gonna make her life good. The obvious question here is, am I reinforcing her chewing on the stick by giving her the treat? In other words, does she equate picking up the stick with getting a treat? And that's what we want to avoid. So I think I need to be a little more thorough and purposeful with my communication here. Sit. Leave it. Look at me. Hey. Ooh, okay. She's a very high value object in her life at this moment. Sit. Stay. Leave it. See this? Leave it alone. Look at me. Yes. The first exercise was a really good example of redirecting her and getting her attention on me instead of the thing she's interested in. In this exercise, where I'm dropping the sticks in front of her, I'm really trying to communicate with her in a more obvious way as it relates to this particular item. Then over time, you hope to pair those two skills together until your dog really starts to put one and one together. Potty training looking good. This is another benefit to getting your dogs outside and playing together. We're doing pretty good on accidents. I think it's been 3, maybe even 4 entire days without an accident. So just because she came here in those 2 instances doesn't mean Kona will never try to dig at the ground again, or that she'll just suddenly start leaving sticks alone either. It takes a lot of consistency. I mean, you gotta do this at least dozens of times, probably hundreds of times. So whether your dog is digging, picking up things they shouldn't, getting into your garden, or even barking at the fence, your ultimate goal is simply to get their attention on you. Start small as needed and increase difficulty over time as they improve. Get 50% off of your first pup box when you sign up for a 3, 6, or 12-month subscription at pupbox.com/Zach. Use my special code Zach too. I'll have a link below. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok and get both of my books. All of those links will be in the description, and we'll see you in the next video.